Everyone, welcome back to my Instagram live show called The Third Phase. Today's guest is Crystal Hackl, founder and CEO of Eagle and Vine. Crystal and I will be discussing how our homes can help us heal when we're navigating life's most difficult transitions. And to everyone else, I'm Lori Carpenter, interior designer and founder of the third phase. But first of all, I want to thank our sponsor, Life Ballet. Life Ballet is a manufacturer of the most stunning tile-ready grab bars available in modular configurations and that are ADA compliant. And you know, our life is full of possibilities, and our home should too. Check out all the possibilities at lifeballet.com and be sure to follow them on at Instagram at lifeballetnw. So let's welcome our guest on here today, our guest Crystal Hackl. Let me bring Crystal on. Let's give her just a minute to get on here. Hey, Crystal.
Hi, Lori.
It's great to have you here with us today.
I'm going to back that up just a little bit. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, I'm telling you, I cannot believe all the transitions you have gone through in this past 2 years. And I feel like you have got so much you can share with our group that that may be going through this as well. When we have aging parents, it's always a challenge. But share with us a little bit about all the major difficulties in that your challenges you've been through in the past 2 years.
Okay, well, I would say that the kind of the crazy period of my life started about 2 years ago, is May of 2023. My husband and I were on a scouting trip to Boise, where we had intended to build our retirement home. And we were just up to look at neighborhoods and stuff, and we identified the lot we wanted, the plan, the builder, everything was perfect. And we said, let's do this. I mean, we slept on it, we got advice, it felt right. And so we accelerated our plan. But that meant we were also going to need to sell our home in order to put a down payment on the construction loan, et cetera. And so we made a plan to sell the home, move into an apartment, and build our home. And that's a pretty major life transition right there, because we were also relocating. And that meant, finding new schools, finding a good place to establish a good IEP for our son. And so that in itself was already a project plan. But a week after we made that commitment, my dad was hospitalized with congestive heart failure. And I remember the day that he was hospitalized, we pulled the kids out of school. My sister and I took our boys to see him in the hospital, because that's one of those phone calls that time is precious. Everything stops.
Absolutely.
And you just say, this is priority number one. Everything else is just stuff.
Yeah.
And so, not knowing what that plan was going to be, not knowing that he also was in kidney failure. And if you've ever been experienced that with a loved one affects the other, right? You can't help the heart without hurting the liver, kidney, and vice versa. And
Oh
so
man.
it became kind of the new normal, became this daily kind of getting to the hospital, waiting for rounds, just talking to one parade of specialist and doctor after the next, trying to understand what the plan was, trying to advocate for dad. And the plan changed every day. Like, it was, we're going to try
Yes.
this. And right. And obviously he just wanted to come home. He wanted to come home and be well. And so just trying to advocate for him and understand what care options were available, that became its own entity as well. And so we're in the process of trying to design the home, and then dad got sick. And so I was bringing my computer, and every time there was a chance to wait, I would just get on my computer and do some things. And
Now
then,
you still had a full-time business as well, correct?
yes. And so, Zoom calls were happening in the waiting room at the hospital. Working, I would stay at the hospital until it was visiting hours were over, and then come home and start my day, getting my son to bed, and then working on whatever I could work on. And sometimes I couldn't stay as late in the day. If I had an appointment or something, I would leave earlier. But
Right.
you start squeezing it all in, because when time is that precious and you don't know how much time you have, you just make it work. You go into crisis mode and you just make it work. And so I will add that in the midst of trying to advocate for dad and making sure that he felt encouraged and that he felt he was being loved and visited enough, there's also this anticipatory grief that happens when you are watching yourself lose someone before your very eyes, and watching him decline in the hospital, and grieving him before he was gone was unexpected for me. That
Right.
that was an element that you don't expect when you're navigating the care process, but it happened. About 2 weeks after my dad was hospitalized, I got home. It was like 10 o'clock at night. My mom calls me and she says, "There's water everywhere in my house. The sewer line, the main sewer line backed up, and it overflowed through a toilet and a shower."
Oh
And
my word.
so I came over, we cleaned it up, we took pictures, and then another project started, which was starting the insurance navigation process and packing up 50 plus years of memories in their home so that work could be done to remediate the damage. And so it again, you just squeeze it in. Dad was still in the hospital,
You don't
and
get a choice.
you just make it work.
Yeah.
All the while, my mom was getting ready for knee replacement surgery, which she was scheduled for on June 30th. Now, keep in mind, this all started May 7th. My dad was hospitalized the second week, and it was like after Mother's Day. Maybe it was like the 19th, I think. So
Uh-huh.
this happened in a very short period of time. He was in the hospital for 5.5 or 6.5 weeks, and the numbers blurring to me. But
Yeah.
this process, it felt like it was a lot longer in the hospital because we were there most days, and so those days, what do they say? The days run long, but the years run short. So the time
Hmm.
passed in a blip, but in that moment, you're just in it. I don't
Right.
even remember my son's last day of school that year.
Oh.
And my mom had knee surgery on the 30th, and we lost my dad on July 3rd.
Oh my goodness.
So I had actually just finished the pack out on his office that morning. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And by 6, we got the message that his heart had stopped. They worked on him for 17 minutes and we needed to come say goodbye.
Oh my goodness.
And so we all got to be there. But then the project plan of dad's care turned into dad's memory. And,
Yeah.
navigating the business of death, which is a whole other thing I knew nothing about, getting death certificates and, working with the mortuary and doing the celebration of life and the visitation, and also grieving, like squeezing
Right.
your grief in the margins of
Yeah.
just doing.
Yeah.
And then the remediation started on the house. Then it was evident that we needed to take on a little bit more than just the remediation because of the age of the house. So I began designing my parents' home for a new phase of my mom's life, which
Right.
was, a new beginning for her, and one that she didn't choose for herself.
Right.
And
And plus,
how do
she'd
I
had
design?
surgery on her knee, correct?
Yes. So she was recovering in a hotel because the house wasn't safe to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
And so she ended up in the hotel for 4 months while we were trying to get
Oh
the
my
house
word.
to a point where she could just be there, not even complete, just getting it to the point where she could be there. So that was tearing out the flooring and doing the remediation. And so we did a lot of DIY to try to get that done. And I will say that the physicality of doing the work DIY was probably instrumental in living with grief that was that acute. Just, tearing out flooring and pulling baseboards and teaching my 7-year-old to do it while he was with me home for the summer. He's 9 now, but he was so little, but
Yeah,
just
it's very little.
bringing him into it. So in the process, we sold our house in 6 days. We had an 18-day escrow, and so we were also boxing up our life, and everything. Pulled a pot, got a pod into the house, packed everything out, and we moved. Instead of into an apartment, we moved into our RV in my parents' driveway, so that we could be
Oh,
with my mom
Right.
when she moved home.
Yes.
And um, I was just noticing Leslie's comment that the DIY work helped ameliorate grief. Yes, I would say any amount of major body movement is processing cortisol, right?
Yeah,
It's helping get that
absolutely.
out of your body.
Yeah.
And so by the end of September, we got new flooring put in the bedrooms, new baseboards, and painted the bedrooms out and replaced closets so we could move into the bedrooms and move my mom home. We still had subfloor and studs all through the rest of the house. We gutted the kitchen because the flooring was being replaced. This is like if you give a house a cookie, right?
Yes.
One thing leads to another. You never know what's going to happen next.
Anytime you remodel, that's what you're up against.
Yeah. So I would say that the bulk of life change for us really happened in those first 5 months. That was, navigating the new build process, designing our new home,
Wow.
obviously starting to rebuild mom and dad's house and just getting it to the point where we could get our feet in the door and put the
Right.
RV on the in the parking stall and not live in it. Um, then then I would say the next phase was from like September through July. That was like the next 9 months was the rebuilding, building our home and rebuilding mom's house. And so, like I said, the flooring needed to come out, so we rebuilt the kitchen. We had it down to studs. We knew that there was a dropped floor adjacent to it, so we raised that floor. We had to raise the door. It was just one thing after another. Like I remember Christmas, we were like all of us just kind of squeezed into a living room with boxes
Oh
because that was
my
the only
word.
room that was there was some sanity in there.
Right.
I was working. There was no table to sit at the time. Um, you just make it work, right? You just make it work. And so the next 9 months was that kind of there was excitement in the new, but you're still processing the grief from what has just happened.
Yeah.
And so like I would say that the emotional side of that was really on hold. And it was just the doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, my mom's house was a surprise in terms of if you give a house a cookie. And I'll give you a little example. We had the kitchen gutted, the cabinets were going in. We templated for tops, and the day that they were going to install the new counters, they pulled up the tile on the windowsill, which was the only piece of finished material left in the kitchen, and found termites. There were no termites
Oh.
around the entire gutted window. Like we could see
Oh.
the studs, no termites. We found termites, and it turned out that there was a significant amount of termite damage in the sunroom behind the kitchen. So that had to be torn down. Then we went to the process of repairing dry rot. And one day we had a piece of a fascia board we couldn't get clean. And so we used a sawzall to cut the nail to get the piece of
Hmm.
trim off. And a random gust of wind happened at the exact same moment and the roof caught fire.
On your mother's house?
Oh, my mom's house. And I walked outside and I'm like, why is there smoke coming off of the roof? And the next thing I know, another gust of wind comes and flames just burst out. And the roof was the original roof, plus it had another layer on top of it, but it was tar paper, highly flammable. We got the fire out, but now the roofs are going to be replaced. So we literally built mom's house back up from floor to ceiling, roof to roof, ground up.
This is
I'm getting tongue tied.
unbelievable. I can't even fathom.
I couldn't have written this if it was fiction. I don't have that kind of
No,
imagination. Um,
no. I don't think a fiction would even have this much turmoil at all. Oh my goodness. Oh, Crystal. How
in
did
the
you
midst of all
get
that.
through this?
Um, I will say so. I mean, that was kind of the biggest part of it. We just the rest of it was buttoning up the house, but um, there were a few key things that helped me get through this. One was I have a very tight knit family, and so my sisters and I, when my dad first went into the hospital, decided to play to our strengths. The stress of seeing her husband in the hospital was so much for my mom, especially getting ready for surgery. It was breaking her down. And
Yeah.
we wanted to take as much of that off of her plate as possible so that she could talk to him on the phone, but not have to
Hmm.
see him that way. And
Right.
so they would talk after all the kids left the hospital and have their time together every night. My sisters and I all have quite different strengths. And we kind of made a multi pronged project plan when dad was in the hospital to play to our own strengths. I have one sister who has a who's a master of public health. She understands hospitalese. So when it comes to interpreting the information we've received, she's kind of our person. But the hospital
Right.
also knew they could call any of us. Because of my background, the design and implementation of the rebuild was my bucket. And then I
Right.
have another sister who's the most amazing administrator, marketing person, and she's got a great mind for analysis. And so she was the one working with the insurance company, and also with my mom. She just has the perfect relationship with my mom. She brought out her alter ego Helga to make my mom do her exercises, and
Yeah.
it was the dream team, right? Like that. And then I've been married for 20 years, and he's my best friend. So my husband
Yeah.
was instrumental in me keeping my sanity through all of this too. And
Um,
the close relationship I have with my mom, my child, and my faith.
yes.
When the week that we got my mom moved back into the house, my husband and I were celebrating our 20th anniversary with a trip to Cabo that we had booked long before Dad got sick. And
Right.
I was so torn about leaving everything behind,
Yeah.
stepping away from that, and just being in a celebration mode. And
Hmm.
my husband was the one to remind me, your dad would really want you to do this. Like, he loved
Yes.
travel, he loved vacation. And the last vacation I had taken before that was with my parents and my husband and my child. And so,
Yeah.
vacation, take the vacation. If I can offer one piece of advice, take the vacation, because you need it. You need the
Yeah.
mental and emotional break. The
Well,
other
and
thing I
what
did,
helped is you had siblings that, that could kind of keep an eye on your
yeah.
on your parents as well, on your mom anyway.
Yeah, and I would say that grief really slowed down her healing process. And so that was a concern, but I mean, she eventually was able to have a full recovery from her knee surgery. It just took longer, and that was frustrating for her.
Right.
But it was really good to be there with her and be, in the house, and give her, having a child in the house gave her a reason to get around and be more active, and really was
Yeah.
cheering, I think, for her too. I would say the other thing was I was walking a lot. I have a Queensland healer who hasn't come and bugged me yet, but you might see his little face on here. He needs mileage. And so I would walk
Yeah.
3 times a day, and I was walking about 8 to 10 miles every day,
Wow.
listening to podcasts, listening to books, listening to anything that would encourage me when I was in a place of depletion and burnout. And I have a lot of favorite podcasts based on that time of my life. And happy to share some books that were instrumental in that, like audiobooks too. But I did
Yes.
a lot of time just walking, even on the hottest days. Just again, physicality helps process that
Yes.
stress in our body. My faith was a huge piece of it. And then
Right.
right after my husband and I got back from Cabo, so this was the end of September, beginning of October, I went to the Women to Women conference with the NKBA,
Oh,
and
good.
really got to refill my tank.
Yes.
And that looked like, sightseeing and taking in beautiful things and taking pictures, but also spending time with other women who have robust life stories that they were then able to pour into me, because I went radio silent on social media. Like, this is not something you start showing up every day and saying, I'm in the thick of it, I'm having a really hard time, and I'm going to crash every single day if I just
Yeah.
let my guard down for a second. And so I just didn't show up. And so nobody knew that I was going through this.
Yeah.
If I did show up, it was, hey, this is something new that's going on. Here's a good thing. We're just, you just post the highlight reel. But when you're mucking through it, it's hard to talk about it. And
It
so
is.
it's
Yeah.
hard to find it. You can't find a support system if you're not ready to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I would have probably done a little bit differently, but maybe navigated it with the closer people that I actually know,
Right.
so that I could, ask for prayer, ask for encouragement, however that
Right.
looked.
Leslie
And
said,
then,
yes, please share those book titles and podcasts.
yeah, there's actually
Because,
one that, if you're in burnout right now and whatever that looks like in your life, Ranjan Chatterjee has a podcast, and it's on my phone, and I'm on my phone right now. I
yeah,
think it's Live Well, but it's
live
Ranjan
well.
Chatterjee.
We can
Um,
add it to our Facebook group. We
okay,
can add it there.
he's a physician, and he talks about ways that what symptoms of burnout you might be facing, and how our tendency is to double down on the things that we've done to get us there. Once we start burning out, we start getting stressed, we start doing more. trying to like light a fire under ourselves, and we burn
Mhm.
ourselves out even more. And so he has really good strategies for how to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of everything else and everyone else.
And that's something that a lot of times when you're in the thick of it, you don't think of that. You're just trying to survive, but realizing filling your tank is so important.
It
So
is.
important.
I would say it's critical.
Yeah,
If you can't give from an empty tank.
you cannot. You
I
cannot.
mean,
Good
you can
point.
stumble forward. That's what I was doing. Because stumbling
Yeah,
looks like walking as long as you don't fall on your face.
yeah.
Like you just keep putting one foot in front of the next and hope you don't fall down.
Right, right. Bless
So,
you. Bless.
yeah.
What did you learn about yourself in the last 2 years?
Oh my gosh. I would say I learned I was so much stronger than I knew. If you had told me that this stuff was coming and that I was going to be able to handle it, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have said, no, there's no way. I cannot handle that much stuff.
Right.
I'm not built that way.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us in the design industry, a lot of women in general are wired to be the elastic and the glue that holds everything together.
Mhm.
And we got to do it. We got to use it on ourselves too. But
Right.
you find out that you can stretch farther than you know when you're dealing with it. And
Right.
yeah.
Now, your son's still young, correct?
Yes, he's 9 now.
Okay, so you were dealing with all of this full-time job, children. Oh my gosh, you were, as we call the sandwich. You were
The sandwich
sandwiched in
generation.
this. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Um,
I think the
so
other part of it was to just keep gratitude so high on my daily things to focus on.
yeah,
Because when my dad was in the hospital, every single day, every single prayer started with gratitude. It was thank you
mhm,
for giving us this day because
yeah,
we know it's not promised. We're grateful that we have this moment together right now. And that carried through into the time I had with my mom too, because being able to live under the same roof with my mom again as an adult child is much different. And it gave me the chance to take care of her a little bit and in
yes.
return so much of what she's poured into me, that I was able to give back even just a morsel of that,
Well, and
was
a
really
lot of people
meaningful.
do not realize you're being in this sandwich, but you've got someone watching you. That son of yours is watching how you're dealing with this. And I think it helps them someday when you're in this position, how much he will go, I remember my mom doing this. I remember my mother taking care of my grandmother, and uh, once you do that and it kind of just gets into your system at a young age, I think you know how to deal with it a little bit better when you're older too.
Absolutely. I remember my mom taking care of my grandparents too,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
watching her nurture them and watching the amount of love that she was able to give them when they were ready to receive it,
yes,
in that way. You know, to be able
right,
to take care of someone is a special kind of love. And you
yes,
can't do it for long without refueling your tank.
yeah,
But yes, she modeled that for me very well. And I was
yes.
able to, like I said, just get back a morsel of it. I mean, she's thriving right now,
Great. That was my
because
next
she's,
question is how is your mom doing?
yeah, I would say, I mean, it's hard. It's hard living without the love of your life, and that doesn't go away.
Mm-mm.
But she is incredibly strong.
How
And
long
I
were they
think,
married?
uh, fif- I've lost the exact number. She had it down to the hours, 51 years, nine
Over 50 years.
months. Yeah. So
Oh
we had
wow.
celebrated their 50th
That
anniversary.
is so hard because you just get so used. Um okay, now let's talk about your own home and your renovation after your mom's.
Yeah, we were building it while we were rebuilding mom's house. So it's not a renovation, it's a new build, but I'm in it right now. You can see probably the thing
Oh,
that
it's
sold me this
beautiful.
lot
I
was
love the
that,
lights.
yeah, thank you. We have a canal behind us. And so we chose this lot because it's a wide, kind of pie shaped lot in a cul-de-sac with a canal behind us and all of this greenery. The presence of water. So if you know the kind of the
Yeah.
things about biophilic design, the presence of water, the presence of actual nature, being able to walk outside and hear the water, hear the frogs at night, and see this greenery every single day. We built the house around this view.
Yeah, I love your big windows.
Thank you. I
That
do
helps
too.
bring in the outside in.
Yes. And so, what informed a lot of my design of my home was sensory friendly. My son and I are both neurodivergent. And so, just having a home that feels calming and restorative when our nervous systems can get frazzled relatively easily, that is really meaningful to us. And so, he's more sensory seeking. He needs more color. He needs more, you know, input, and I need
Right.
less. And so just navigating that, but having nature behind us gave us that perfect bridge.
Right.
And then, in my kitchen, you might be able to see it a little bit back here, but we did stained, natural stained naughty alder
Ooh, beautiful.
cabinetry. We did creamy cabinets that blend in with the walls. We did the hammered brass pendants, the marble backsplash, just to bring in as many natural elements as possible. And then I can show you over here too. We put stone on the fireplace. So
Oh, beautiful.
just having all of those natural elements that kind of help bridge the interior and the exterior. That's like it's having a place that restores you every time you're here. And so that was key to me designing this home for us.
That is
Interesting.
so important that a lot of people don't think about is bringing that in and how each thing it does. It truly helps heal you.
Yeah. And the presence of natural light too. Those are
Yes, the
key things.
natural light is so key.
Yeah. And just learning for
Absolutely
me,
key.
like what pieces are most meaningful to me. And it's something that informs my process with clients as well, but it has been incredibly meaningful to navigate this as my own client and see where the process needs to be a little bit more wraparound in order to really support the person. 'Cause people who are remodeling or building, they're going through transitions too, whatever that looks
Mhm.
like. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
How did your mom transition into her space? Because it's
She
almost new to her.
it's a brand new space. Like it's a
Yes.
fully brand new home. And she still talks about how it really is a place for her to heal to.
Great. Great. That's even better. So y'all have really somewhat bounced back and healed, correct?
As much as, yeah, I think as much as possible. I think now, so I think one thing people need to leave room for when you go through a really critical period, a lot of transition, a high stress, is that there's a recovery period.
Hmm.
And that might be different for everybody. But
Right.
once you get to a place where your nervous system knows you're safe, you have to do the work of recovery and rebuilding. And so, my A1C's up, my cholesterol's up. Things are like there are things in my body that say you're still having stress in your body, even though I feel great. And so it's walking, it's doing those things again to make sure that my
Absolutely.
body and my nervous system remember this is a safe place and it's okay to start healing.
Hmm. Well, Leslie's asking, what did you incorporate into your mom's home that really helped her most?
Um, Kind of thinking future forward in terms of making sure that we've got one level, there's no steps to take in there. We did a resilient floor that looks like natural white oak,
Hmm.
and it's light and airy. She had multiple surfaces, so there was carpet and tile and wood before,
Right.
and getting all of that together into one surface was really good. Using a light wood color in the cabinets with natural stone backsplash and countertop. Again, something that's light and airy, but still natural. I would say, knowing that she's not a white kitchen person, that would have felt too sterile. So surrounding her with warmth,
Hmm.
natural elements, and then just knowing, I mean, being a student of my mom since I was a baby, right? We study our
Right.
parents. And so just knowing what she likes and finding things that would just delight her in everyday life was a joy for
Great.
me. And giving her, things that she might not have even been able to identify as things that she loved, but just making sure that I included them was really important.
Great. Great. Is there anything else that you can think of that we haven't touched on today that might help someone who's listening that's going through what you're going through or what you've been through, I should say?
I would say talk about it. Talk about it with the people around you, and be open to sharing it when you're ready, if you can.
Hmm.
And I'll say that in closing, that there was a friend that knew about this circumstance. She invited a bunch of us to a dinner party. None of us knew that all of us had lost our dad in the past year. One was like a year out. One was me. I was right in the middle, and the other one it was a very, very recent loss. And just in natural conversation, talking about it, we all had a chance to really minister to each other and talk about it and
That
really
is,
encourage and love on each other.
did she know? Did
She
she
knew.
know that you had? She did, but y'all didn't.
But she
Oh,
didn't, she
wow.
wasn't spilling the tea on us. She was giving us the space to support each other. And that was a
What an
wonderful friend.
awesome person. Wow.
So, yes, I would say just if you're able to talk about it so
Hmm.
that one, so that your experience doesn't have to feel isolating.
Right,
Two, because talking about it allows you to process. And three, because you never know who you're going to help and how someone else can help you if you're in a conversation.
right. Yeah, you really don't. That's one reason, Crystal, I wanted you on here today because it is so hard. I have just recently had to put my mother in long-term care. She was in assisted. She was at home by herself. She's 92. She was in the home by herself till she was 90. I put her in assisted living, and then moving her into long-term care. It is so hard to do, and having someone. I think that's one reason I feel like this platform. It's just not being talked about enough. That having a friend and creating a safe space, that's what the third phase is all about. And you sharing this, this is fabulous because I really feel like this could help someone. And in turn, what you've learned that your friend having this dinner might be, you never know what that could do, what you could do for someone else at some point that's going
Exactly.
through this
Or even while you're in it. I
while
mean,
you're in
there,
it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
because there's something different about the way our bodies are wired to process things when we're actually considering someone else and their needs. And that was probably something I forgot to say, is that remembering the whole time that this wasn't about me. Yes, I'm in it, but it allowed me to give attention to the things that I could do as opposed to feeling the feelings that feel isolated and frustrated and burned out and depleted. It's just getting a chance to see what good I can do with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's wow. That's touching. I can't even begin to imagine. Like I've dealt with my mother, but oh, girl, you have been through so much in a very short period of time. So very
And
resilient.
and yet so many people I know are going through even more than I can imagine. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
again, we all have the ability to tolerate what we're going through if we lean on all of the resources that we have, but it's hard to know how to do that when you're in it.
Yes. It is. When you're in the thick of it, you don't think of it. You're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
But wow, yeah, having a good family support system,
Take the
friends.
breaks, get the pedicures, take the vacation.
Yeah, take the vacation. That's what a lot of people would go no. But and you might not have, had it not been your 20th.
I might not have. Yeah.
Yeah, but it being something I am so glad you did, and I know
Yeah.
you are now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the right moment to take that pause too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so glad to hear that your mother's doing well and you are, and I just can't even begin to thank you for sharing all this with us because I know how hard it is. But I would love for you to join my free Facebook group. It's free, it's powerful, it's private, so it's a safe place. It's a place for friends. It's a safe place to share. And I would love for you to share some of your books and your podcasts, some of the things you've gone through with the
Absolutely.
group, because are the books that helped you get through it, and even the walking. Um, I tell you, I have to walk every morning. I just feel so much better being out in. I have a treadmill, but it's not the same as being outside. It just
Now the
is not.
grounding, you're grounding when you're
Yes,
outside. Yeah.
yes, yes. So thank you so much. And what I was going to say about my Facebook group, it is called The Third Phase, using the number three. So anyone out there, if you haven't joined, please join, because we have lovely people like Crystal on here, very inspiring. And thank you so much, Crystal, for joining us today. And wow, wow. I can't wait to maybe meet up with you in markets and things like that. Are you going to High Point?
Not this year,
Not this
but
year.
hopefully in the spring. Yeah.
Okay, in the spring. And you live in where?
Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho. Wow. Wow.
So thank you so much also for hosting this. Thank you for inviting me. But really, thank you for the work that you're doing to bring this really important thing to everyone's attention, because we need this resource. Thank you for the resources that you're sharing.
Yeah. Well, after starting it, I was like, I can't, and I've learned so much from it. That is amazing, from inspiring people like yourself. So, Crystal, thank you so much for being with us today. And like I said, I look forward to meeting you in person.
Same. Thank you, Lori.
Okay, thanks, Crystal. Bye bye.
Bye.